We've already put in one image up here to replace the header image, and let's look at the next main image area, which would be these portfolio pieces here. So each of these has an image, like a thumbnail version, and then a larger version of the image here within the thing. So those are two different locations for the image. We can actually use the same image for both. Let's see how they did it in the template. So this particular item, where is the image appearing? Oh, it's not, I'm not getting the right. Oh, because it's covered by the hovering box in there. Okay, this is a good place to peek at the other part here that shows us. So the images here are more content images, and they're included in the HTML. So here we see the source in an image tag goes to that same assets folder, but because it's within the HTML, it doesn't have to back out of the CSS folder like the other one did. So it's a very different way of putting images in, but we will work with that too. And the size on this, it shows the rendered size is 296 by 222, but the intrinsic size, the size of the file it's reading, is 600 by 450. And if we click on it, so this is in the, where are we? So the container, the portfolio items, it's in there. And it references modal 1. But when we click on this and go to this image, it's in a different place. So we're in the modal body at this time, and it goes to a different image in the portfolio thing. But this image, the same intrinsic size, so it's using the same file, but it's rendering it larger, still not rendering it full size. So that gives us the hint that we can use the same image in both places. So let's go back to the first image placement. So we're looking for the portfolio items, portfolio item 1. That's where the first image would be. So let's find that. And then we've been doing everything in the style sheet. We're going to go back to the HTML. Here's the portfolio grid, and we are looking at, where are we? Class row, here it is, portfolio item 1. Here's portfolio item 2. So within portfolio item 1, here's our image tag right here. It's a self-closing tag, so just this one line. So we again have an address. So let's look at our folder, and let's say we want to do, oh, I don't know, the almonds. Okay, and our image is quite big. So the other one was 600. We could sample our images down to be more appropriate size. So they had 600 size for theirs. We can verify that back in here in the portfolio. These are all 600 by 450. We could resize ours down to that. But I like them to show bigger than this if possible. So let's see if I can show part of that problem here. So I would like, when I'm at a screen this big, I would like that image to be bigger. And as it is now, it's only rendering it to the maximum size of the image. So it's kind of hard to see here, but it's 600 by 450. It could be bigger if the file was bigger. So I'm going to say at least more the 900 range. So I'm going to go back to my images in my images folder, and let's pecans. Yeah, let's do pecans. So the pecans, again, it's Oh, that's 900 already. 900 by 900. That's good. And the almonds were bigger. Let's start with pecans. That'll be easier. So it's in the images folder. It's called pecans.jpg. So it's basically the right size already. And I simplified the name so this would be easy. So we are not in the assets and images or IMG folder. We're just in the images folder. And this is simply called pecans. So I'm going to save that. This is the HTML file. Close this and refresh. It failed. What did I do wrong? So that's the broken image thing there. Images pecans. What's it really called? Pecan. Oh, here's one of those. So it's a JPEG file. That's the way I saved it from online. So it needs to be JPEG. Lovely mistake. There we go. So here it is. It's a square image, so it changed the grid to be a square. So if all of my images in this grid are squares, that will work. But it won't work if they're not all squares. So either I make all my images non-squares or I make all my images squares. Okay? And when I click on this, it's going to a different image. So let's first take care of this one. So this one's in the modals area, portfolio modals. That's in a very different place, but we can handle that. So here we're on line 101 for our very first portfolio 1 image, and the modals are much further down in here. I think they're at the bottom. Oh, yep, I saw it, I thought. So here's the footer. So they're at the end of the document after the footer, portfolio modal. So line 393. You can see my scroll bars towards the bottom. And we are looking for, here's project name. Here it is. So having generic names for your files like 1 and then using that for your image 1, that does make it easier, but we're not doing that. So we are in the images folder /cons.jpeg. Okay, so there we go. So this is where it's nice to have a larger image. So that 900 image lets me show a bigger image, which is really nice. Okay, so that worked. But if we want to do almonds, the almonds are not square, and they're bigger. So there's some image preparation to get things to work together. So back up, not assets but images. Here's the almonds, and I'll open that. So as I mentioned before in the other when we were doing the header, sometimes it's easier to work all in one file. So I'm going to open up the pecans image, which is square. Take my almond image and select all and copy it and go to pecans and paste it in. It's way too big and it's not square, but working within this square means I can resize this and position it in a similar relative location to where the pecans are, pecans. Okay, so the pecans look like that. This looks like this. That will be pretty close. I'm going to try to keep it centered, accept the change. Pecans, almonds. Pretty similar. The shadows are grayer and the coloring is more saturated on this one, but that's okay. So this image doesn't have the advantage of the it doesn't go the whole way, so I might just make another layer if I'm doing this multiple times. and fill that with my plain white background. And put that at the bottom. And make sure I turn off those. There we go. And then I'll save this. I'll do it as an export. Okay, there it is. It'll be the 900 by 900 because that's what the pecans image was. It's going to do a JPEG thing, but I think it will want to, what's it going to do? Yeah, it's going to save it as a JPG. Do a -SQ to remind me that this one is square as opposed to my normal almond thing. And I'm going to go ahead and leave the JPG because that's a better file name anyway. And that means that I can safely put it in modal 2. I'm already in the modal, so I'll just go down to the second one. So portfolio modal 2, here's the image. Images / almond, I don't know if it's an S or not. -SQ. So it's always helpful to have your Finder or whatever file window. So it does have an S the way I did it, so that's correct. And while I'm here, I'm just going to copy that whole line within the quotes. Go back up to the first place they are in the 100s, portfolio item 2 on line 110. Here's the image address on 116. Okay, so now the second one will also be square, so it fills the same space on the grid, and when I click on it, I'm also seeing the larger one here. So one of the nice things about this template is that it's ready to put in multiple images. You just have to put them in. So the pattern in the template is just to have the title, subtitle, image, paragraph, and then client, category, close project. But if I want to show multiple images, that's no problem. I would just do that in the modal, not the thumbnails, but the modal. So I'm going to go back down to the modal areas. Where was that? We're here. So portfolio item 2, there's the image. I'm going to borrow the one from the one above it. So I'm going to take the image, for the pecans image from modal 1, all the way down through the paragraph tag here, making sure I get the beginning and ending P. Copy that, go down to item 2 modal group pop-up. Here's the image and paragraph for that. So I'm just going to hit a line return and put in another image and paragraph and save it. Refresh. So the first one just has the typical image paragraph, but the second one now will have this image and paragraph and then the other image and paragraph. So that's working great. The other thing that I kind of did right with this is I used a cutout background on white photograph, which blends with the white pop-up background. So if I was using a different color background here, that would need to be different. If I wanted a different background color, I would need to target that. Let's see what it is. It is called the modal content class. You can see there it has background color of just white. So if I wanted to change the color of the backgrounds in the pop-ups, I would use that. Okay, hopefully that helps. So getting in a content image in the HTML instead of in the styling. So if on your website, if it's an image that is the content is the image, then that should be coded into the HTML. If it's just a decoration like up here, it's just decorating the background, then it's better to put that in the styling. I know that's kind of a weird philosophy, but that's what good practice. So there are other images in here, and we can target those the same way. Find the unit, and if we don't see it in the styles, then it is probably in the content. So yep, here it is in the HTML. It's a timeline image, and they're each different. And there we see the address to it. So again, take note of the size of the image. This image file is 200 by 200, but it's only rendering here at 156. And I think, I don't know if it ever gets bigger than that. So even on a big screen, on a small screen, it gets even smaller, and on a mobile scale, it gets even smaller. So that 200 size is appropriate there. These images, do they get smaller, bigger? So they're pretty big here. And then our bigger size, yeah, they pretty much stay the same either way. The images themselves are not circular. So if I open, so there you can see it, it's a square image. And by making sure that all the images are square means that they will go into the circles nicely. So the circleizing, the rounding out of those images happens in the style sheet, not in the photo itself. Photoshop doesn't make round files. Same thing here, square images, and it's smart to make all of your images the same size. So that's one thing I didn't show you in Photoshop. Now that I have multiple images in this, I need to make sure to save this file, the Photoshop file, the PSD file, portfolio images, and you can save it into your images folder, or you can make a new folder and call it work images, so that it's easy to pull out and make sure that these don't make it onto the server when you publish your file. You never want to upload to a server PSD files. That's your own special thing. And you need to keep them close in your working folder so you know where they are, so you can make changes, but you don't want to upload those. They're way too big and better to keep separate. I guess you could keep them with the content to keep it there for the client, but you don't ever want it. You can't do an image address to a PSD file. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop this.